Hi. Hello, lovely people. So, first up, an apology for the mishap on Wednesday. Um, I have been gigging this week and it's been delightful. And I pre recorded the chapter and then set it uploading. And I was right out in the middle of nowhere. So the Wi Fi was not at its strongest. And it just didn't happen. And by the time I could see you guys sort of tweeting and saying that it hadn't happened, I was on the road back, and I tried again to get it to go up for Thursday. But I actually think it's been a plus side that it didn't go up, because I've had an office day today, and I've managed to well, not managed to, but because I had a bit more time, I sort of like adapted the chapter a little bit, and I've done some editing and elongated it, so it's now by far the longest chapter we've had in this book. But I got to sort of expand on some ideas where I've been trying to be a bit firmer with myself, not spending 4 hours a chapter, and sort of being a bit more. Sort of like, that's the chapter and that is how it is. This time I've done a bit more on this one, so it's quite exciting. So thanks everyone for sticking with me through the mishap. I'm very tired today and I've not had dinner yet, but I have had some wine, so I imagine the reading will be fucking shocking. How's my throat? It's kind of all right. I don't know if I'm being paranoid. I think what it is that because I've been gigging this week, I think it's strained because I've been doing outdoor gigs and I'm not match fit. I haven't been gigging. So I think sort of 4 gigs or whatever, it's like, this is basically, I've worked 2 weeks straight without a break. So I think I'm just tired and I think it's muscular. But then because of COVID, I don't want to risk it. And so I had a look at my diary, and Sunday I had a gig in. And so I've had to pull out of that and I've cleared a week. It's already feeling better after a day of resting. So annoyingly, I think I'm probably absolutely fucking fine. But I don't know. I would rather. I'm so scared of giving this virus to other people that I can't risk it. So, but we can do this, and we'll do an extra chapter tomorrow to make up for Wednesday not working. There will be a live chapter tomorrow at 10 p.m. So that is Saturday, the 29th of August. There will be a live chapter at 10 p.m. So don't miss that. And I will set the live stream up straight away after this one, so that everybody is in no doubt as to when it is happening and what time. Does the light look very red for all of you guys? I can't work out what I've done differently. It looks very... Oh, now it's changed. Oh, God, that was weird. That was like it was listening to me. Ugh. So anyway, how weird was that? Has it been changing a lot? Oh, no, now it's changed. Anyway, right, Laura, stop looking at this. This is why I don't normally look at myself while I'm doing these videos. So well done for entertaining yourselves on Wednesday. But let's do a chapter, shall we? I'm quite excited now because I had time to sort of played about with it. I've had the longest, most stressful day today. But all made better because my brother's on holiday and I'm feeding his cat. So I took Mackie around. Mackie really loves the cat. They get on really well together. So I took Mackie over to sit with the cat for a few hours. So I just had a very peaceful, because Tom, my husband, is in an improv group called The Noise Next Door. So they were doing a live stream today from my living room. So Mackie and I went out so that she didn't get too involved in the live stream. So we went to hang out with Gnocchi, and I sat on the sofa and watched Pose while the cat and the puppy fought with each other and wrestled and argued, and they're so cute together. And then they both got tired at the same time and came and slept on my lap, but the cat was very disgruntled about the dog being in the lap, so there was lots of toing and froing. Mystic says, are the Noise Next Door going to be on Britain's Got Talent when it returns? I don't know, is my honest answer to that. I don't know. I was so proud of them for where they got to. I hope so, is my answer, if it's done right, but I don't know. This fucking year has not stopped throwing problems at us yet, but we are but 6 days away from the book being released. I had an email from my editor yesterday to say that the book is in the post to me, so I can see the copy, and I saw that the files have been uploaded to Audible today, so the actual time of the book is up on there. So there'll be some good things, but as for the Britain's Got Talent, I hope so. I really hope so. They deserved it. I've had wine. I shouldn't even be talking about this probably, but they so fucking deserved it. Like, They've worked so hard on the circuit for years. And I know I'm biased because they're my friends from uni and I love them, but like the circuit is so difficult and tough. And then you have a massive breakthrough and you finally like do something like that. And then, but anyway, other people have had it worse. Lady Frag says, any book parties we can go to? Any book parties that I can bloody go to? We will have a book party. We'll do a special chapter on Thursday night to celebrate. And I'll have a copy. So we will have a little party. But I haven't been told that there's a book party. So either the pre-sales have been so bad that they're not funding a party, or or they're still COVID-y, so they're not happening. But it will be in bookshops. I'm really excited for like Friday or whatever, and I can wander down to my local Brighton Waterstones and like an actual book that I wrote is going to be in there. I'm so excited. I'm so nervous for people to read it. Anyway, you can tell I've had wine, haven't you? Because this waffle is like 6 minutes. Oh, well, can I do Klopp's accent? No. All right. Okay. I will stop waffling in a minute. I promise. So if you're watching this and you're not live or you don't care about these bits, just skip. I'll put the time that the actual story starts in the comments. For the audio version, I had to write a special little chapter explaining about accents, and book club gets a mention in the audio version of the Club Actually book. Excuse me, that was a tiny burp. Because I had to say I can't do the accent, and it would undermine a lot of the book if I was trying to do this terrible German accent. So I've like not done it. I've just done like a generic sexy man voice, and I've said if you want accents, find the Audience Adventure on YouTube. So maybe people will find us. Chris, you can definitely have a signed copy. You're all very welcome to a signed copy. As if you're ever at gigs and stuff in the future, totally bring the copy and I'll sign it. I have to work on a signature though. Right, we should do this chapter because like I say, I have not had dinner and I'm full of wine. And I'm excited for the vote today. You've got a lot of thinking to do, just with only a day to think about it, which is quite exciting. So, chapter 7. Marine felt like there was too much information in her mind for it to still be the same week. How could this be happening? She almost wanted to keep touching her own skin to check she was the same Tingion that she had been a few days before the mission. Following her chat with Ezria, she had headed back to her family home, barely noticing the streets passing as she made her way through. Her head swam with the speed at which her world had been turned upside down. Just hours ago, she had been topside, retrieving the lost stone. They were supposed to have come home to accolades and relief from all Tingions. All anyone wanted was for the stone to be put in safe holdings, and surely that was what they had achieved. Now here she was, sitting in the quiet living room with the company disbanded, Ezria fired, and herself entwined in a secret bid to expose whatever was going on behind closed doors with Van Weer. So what was going on with Van Weer? Instinctively, Marine trusted Ezria, but was she right to? Was it just that proximity to Ezria and serving under her was making Marine lean towards her rather than Van Weer? Could Van Weer be corrupt? To what end? She was already supreme ruler of the military. What more could there be to achieve? There was no such thing as a royal family in Tingian society. They had disbanded that long before they'd even moved beneath the ground. It had caused too many fights and wars and rifts to survive permanently in a society that craved peace and stability. Tingian government changed constantly. They had disbanded the idea of parties years ago after it was decided that rival parties got them too hot under the collar. Wine. Everything in Tingian society was run by a minister with their own small team of civil servants. Each of these ministerial positions came up for re-election every 2 years, but all staggered so that there was never too much change at one time. Any Tingian could run, but there were 2 stipulations. They must submit a plan for their 2-year tenure should they win, detailing for the voters what they would be setting out to achieve. Secondly, they had to commit that should they win and fail to achieve 75% of what was in their manifesto, then they would forfeit 75% of their life savings and salary. It wasn't a foolproof system, but it was the best they had so far come up with to keep ministers honest and to keep elections from becoming fanfares of promise with very little basis in reality. Tingions liked their promises to be achievable, calm, and not too ambitious. It was a system designed to keep constant waves of change coming through, but without paving the way for corruption by leaving someone in power for too long. Of course, there were factions of the government that got on better than others, but since they had disbanded official parties in favour of all solo runners, it had meant things got done a little quicker, with a much reduced level of spite. Van Weer had been in the highest position in the Tingian military for just over a year. She was popular and had already tipped over her 75% attainment goal. Marine had never felt even a speck of friction between Van Weer and anybody else. So if it was the stone, why would Van Weer be lying about it? What need did Van Weer have for pretending it wasn't? And if it wasn't the stone, why would Ezria be so convinced that it was? Also, why would Van Weer have fired Ezria for making the mistake? Several captains and scientists had agreed before they went topside that there was a good chance this was the stone, worth risking all their lives on going up to retrieve it, worth risking all of Tingian society being discovered to go topside and get it. Van Weer herself had given permission. So why fire Ezria when it turned out it was not? Surely better safe than sorry. That was practically a Tingian mantra. Marine shook her head tiredly to try and disperse her muggy thoughts. She drained her cup. There were no answers to any of these questions in her head or home. She would sleep and meet Ezria at their appointed meeting place the next morning. She awoke with dusty eyes, those were not the words. Very sorry. Have I mentioned the wine? I feel like I've mentioned the wine. Should have had dinner. I didn't have time. Anyway, she awoke with dusty-feeling eyes and a raging head, pulled on her boots and made her way to the appointed tavern before first beats. It was a decent walk away from her house, and she felt watched every step of the way. Marine was not a naturally brave Tingian. She often wondered what on earth had possessed her to join the forces in the first place. It certainly wasn't a desire for danger or excitement. She could think of nothing more exciting than being at home, knowing exactly what the next day would bring. She thought perhaps it was obstinacy that had led her into the military. A desperate desire to give her odd magic an outlet, a use, a purpose, or at the very least, a disguise. The top had called her, moving air and lights that changed and bounced. She didn't want to be near humans or animals if she could help it, but there was that magical frisson of knowing that she was back where her ancestors had once lived. She turned the last corner, looking about her for prying eyes before ducking into the tavern with her coat pulled up as far over her head as she could without looking too suspicious. Chris says, is it the uniform that's drawn her to the military? Maybe. Maybe we should have a vote on what the uniform is. Ooh. Well, if anybody's good at art, we should get some fan art going. I can't draw to save my life, but art world, that feels like your world. She turned the last corner, looking about her for prying eyes, before ducking into the tavern with her coat pulled as far— Oh, I've already read this. Fucking hell, Laura. Her eyes adjusted to the different light in the tavern. The flickering of the glow lamps on the walls and tables was warm and moving. Her eyes jumped from table to table until she spotted Ezria sitting against the wall on the far side. She moved swiftly across the floor and slid into the spare seat behind Ezria. Behind? That's weird. That should say beside. It's weird if you go to a pub and just pull up a chair behind someone, isn't it? Hello, leaning over there. What are you drinking? No, let's change that to beside, because behind's weird, I think. Right. Slid into the spare seat beside Ezria. Ezria barely glanced up. Were you followed? She muttered into the table. I don't think so, Marine murmured back, feeling her heart beating hard in every extremity of her body. I will need you to know for sure next time, was all Marine heard in return, and she felt her ears burning with shame. Ezria pushed a cup across the table to Marine and lifted her own to clink cups. Marine clinked, locked eyes with Ezria, and then took a sip. It all felt very showy, and she tried to scan the seats to see who Ezria was performing for. Ezria's conversation was stilted, and Marine joined in, knowing everything they were saying was fake and killing time. To what end, she could only wonder. She heard the door open behind her, and Ezria got to her feet immediately. Marine's head whipped around. Ezria's lieutenant Aesma had entered the tavern and stood silently in the doorway. Oh, hang on. What did we say? I made oh, fucking hell. I made a little thing to remind myself whose accents are what and which characters are. This is so much more complicated than a friggin' woman stuck in a bath. Stop taking the piss out of my French accent, by the way. I can see you lot. So Swedish for Esma. What is my Swedish accent? Is it? Okay, so Esma's in the doorway. Already drowning your sorrows, you old sot. I'm not even going to apologise. They're just going to happen today. Say whatever you feel like in the comments. Came as Esma's gentle tones. Oh, gentle. Hang on. She's got to be Swedish and gentle. Already drowning? No. I'm from Sweden. Already drowning your sorrows, you old sot, came Esma's gentle tones, and Marine blanched. She had never heard a note of questioning from Esma before. The two had been thick as thieves. Imagine how good this would be if I could actually do accents. It would have tension and a proper narrative. What are you doing here? Came Ezria's menacing growl. I may go where I please. I have not displeased Van Weer. It's you who should be hanging your hand in shame. Hand in shame? Who hangs their hand in? Was I drunk when I wrote this? It's you should. Maybe I'm just going to leave that how it was. Maybe Tingions hang their hands in shame. So when they're ashamed, they're like that. I'm leaving it. I'm leaving the typo. It's you who should be hanging your hand in shame. Aesma stayed stock still in the doorway. Fuck me. Maybe I have got a fever. Maybe there's got to be an explanation for why I'm doing this. Fucking hell. Oh, God. Thank God you people are so nice, because otherwise I would feel, well, I do feel like a bellend, but at least I know it's entertaining you. I don't know if you're laughing with me or at me, but either way, it's entertaining. Right. It's you who should be hanging your hand in shame. Aesma stayed stock still in the doorway. Marine wondered whether the two would fight. Would she need to join in? She'd never actually been in a fight before. Ezria didn't move. The two women were locked in a silent battle of wills. The few other customers in the tavern stayed very still and quiet in their seats. The barman didn't move a muscle. Aesma, you know me. You know, Ezria began. I know who I trust, said Aesma. It is not you. Do you know what I sound like? You used to have a board game called Dream Phone. And the premise was you as an 11-year-old had a sleepover and phoned a big plastic phone to find out which boy fancied you. And that's the voice I think I'm doing for Swedish. I know who it is, but I'm not telling. Ha ha. He looks cool in whatever he wears. He's not wearing a jacket. I'm very drunk. What am I doing? Right. I know who I trust, said Aesma. It's not you. You don't need to call anyone for an intervention, by the way. Tom's downstairs. She gave Ezria a sneering look up and down and then made her way to the bar to order a drink. Marine looked at Ezria and her stomach lurched when she saw Ezria was trembling. Had Marine thrown her allegiance in with the wrong side? Just as the thought crossed her mind, she heard Aesma's voice calling across the bar. You are making a mistake, Marine. I'll give you until 6 beats to come crawling to tell me your allegiance is in the right place. Oh, fucking hell. She's just going to have to read the blog. I'll put whatever that was meant to be in the comments. Oh, bloody hell. There you go. That's what Aesma said. Right, carry on. Marine's stomach turned to mush. She glanced up at Ezria, who was looking at her coldly. I am leaving, said Ezria. I will not stay in a tavern that serves rats. You can follow me, or her. She drained her cup and stalked out of the wooden door. Marine was frozen for a moment. And the table? That doesn't make any sense. Maybe that's supposed to be at the table. The table was probably frozen anyway. Tables don't often wander about. Marine was frozen for a moment. I did mention I've had a busy day, right? Yep, good. Okay, bye. Marine was frozen for a moment at the table. She tried to cool her heart and listen to her gut. The thought of publicly going against Van Weer was terrifying, but she knew deep down that she trusted that solid look in Ezria's eye. She downed her cup for courage and dashed out after Ezria, feeling Aesma's eyes on her back. As she emerged from the tavern, she looked left and right and didn't see a sign of Ezria anywhere. She picked a direction and raced to the right. As she passed an alley, an arm shot out and pulled her in. Were you followed? Came Ezria's voice from the darkness. I wasn't, said Marine, and she could swear she heard Ezria smile. She allowed Ezria to lead her down the alley into near-perfect darkness. They twisted and turned, and then suddenly the alley ended abruptly in a small wall of grass and flower stems. They must be at Forstwire Square, Marine thought in amazement. It was one of the most beautiful spots in the city, where Tingions had recreated some of the flora of the topside by putting tiny boreholes up so that the rain and light could come down and grass and flowers could grow. It had produced a beautiful grassy square with towering daisies and the odd daffodil, an incredible feat. Marine had no idea you could reach it other than by the main thoroughfare that coursed through the high street towards it. Ezria pulled Marine softly through the grassy blades, both taking care not to disturb it too much and draw attention to their presence. We are alone now. I am glad that you came after me. Marine beamed. She couldn't help feeling proud of herself whenever Ezria was impressed with her. She wondered what her life would be like by now if she had instead joined Aesma at the tavern bar. So many possibilities. Ezria, what is going on? Marine asked, wishing she had a more insightful question to ask. I believe Van Weer is lying about the stone. I think she wants it for something else and has dismissed me because I know it is the stone. What makes you so sure? Asked Marine, wide-eyed. Ezria opened her mouth to reply, but was silenced by a noise nearby. Marine froze. It could be a mouse, or worse, a mole. As beautiful as this square was, the smell of it often attracted wildlife. It was the constant focus of campaigns to get rid of it, to prevent such dangerous nuisances. Personally, Marine loved it. It was one of the few places in the Tingian city that wasn't purely functional. The rustling continued behind them, and then Aesma appeared from between the blades of grass and settled silently on the floor. Marine wondered if her heart rate would ever slow down again. She looked from Ezria to Aesma, wondering which one of them would kick off first, but they both seemed to be smiling. I am so happy for you two for joining me. What are you talking about? You two? Right, yes. So, yeah, Ben, you did call it. I saw your comment come up. I think you're commenting on my wine drinking, but that's not going to stop. My brother-in-law runs a wine delivery company. Anyway, what are they called? Selected Grapes, and he does this service where you tell him what kind of wine you like, and then he puts together a selection pack, and then you tell him what you liked out of that. And I like them all. Anyway, right, where are we? The rustling continued behind them, and then Aesma appeared. Blah, 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 blah. Marine wondered if her heart rate would ever, wondered who was going to kick off first. Seemed to be smiling. I am so happy for you two for joining me, Ezria said, smiling at them both. I believe our little performance in the tavern should have settled the minds of Van Weer's spies that I have no one more effectual than my least experienced who will trust me. Marine felt small, so that was why she was here. Who's saying this? Yes, okay, it's still Ezria. Van Weer will have no idea of what you are capable of, Marine. I am not even sure if you or I know. The three of us will not be enough, though. If we are to test the stone and have a hope of wresting it from Venweir's grasp, we will need more able bodies. Ismar, which of the company do you think we can trust? Marine turned to look at Ismar, who pulled a list from inside her coat. Of the entire company, no, Swedish, okay. Of the entire company, I think we could choose from Lork, Kurann, Bissette, Mortglade, Rishekke, Tizzine, Jurias, and Eleff. I think to get in and test the stone with Marine, we would want 4 of them. Ismar finished delivering her report and looked at Ezria for confirmation of who she would choose. Marine thought over the list that Ismar had read out. There was Lork, friendly and jovial, loud by Tingian standards, and an absolute powerhouse in the training ground. Kurann, the only male in the squad, funny and quiet. He always had a good comment that could get you into trouble for sniggering out of place. Bissette, descended from the ancient Tingian royal family. She was waify and strong, determined to prove herself beyond her family's history. Mortglade, the oldest in the company, a woman who seemed to have read every book and retained every fact, so quick with a smile, and the right way to make you feel better about yourself. Rishekke, a quiet, fast Tingian that Marine barely knew other than that she was always picked first for stealth jobs. Tizzine, a brash Tingian who liked one too many routails. She was often in trouble for being late, but somehow her performance was always polished when they needed her, and so she was never punished to the point of exclusion. Jurias. Jurias had joined the company at the same time as Marine. Something about her had always set Marine on edge. She was competitive, rude and focused, a brilliant mind, but not someone Marine felt thrilled to be next to on the bench at the tavern. And finally, Eleff, the gentlest soul Marine had ever met. She was soft, vague and quiet, almost ethereal. She was relaxed to the point that Marine had frequently wondered why on earth she wanted military life. But want it she did seem to. Marine looked at Ezria to see who she would choose, but Ezria merely slowly turned her head to look at Marine. Marine, who shall we take? Marine gulped. And that is the end of your chapter. So I hope you were paying attention, because your choice is to select which 4 Tingians Marine chooses. So your list is Lork, Kurann, Bissette, Mortglade, Rishekke, Tizzine, Jurias, and Eleff. And you get to vote which 4 of those, Marine selects to offer to Ezria as part of the company. So I appreciate you may not have been listening as closely as you wanted to be. They're all in the blog. The blog is already posted. So if you want to just go and read that through at your own pace, you can go to my blog and read the descriptions of the Tingians there. But I thought this was a fun vote. So those are all the ones that Ismar thinks could be trustworthy. And you can choose which ones Marine offers to Ezria as the ones that she would choose. So there you go. A bit of fun. And just so that you know, I haven't chosen a plot for a 4 combination. I just have done some character traits there, and so you can choose which characters. So because we did a mystical option a couple of votes ago, where you don't know what you're choosing for. So you're not deciding any plot outcome here. You're just choosing which characters are going to be involved. I thought this could be fun. We didn't do this in the last book. It's a bit different. It's a something, isn't it? That's a Spencer Jones bit. Me and Tom do it all the time. It's something, isn't it? God, have we been not... I was going to say on the phone for half an hour then. We're not on the phone, Laura. No one's talking back to you. Well, you are in the comments. So those are your votes. I will put the names in the comments. I won't do the descriptions, but if you want the descriptions, you just go to lauralex.blogspot.co.uk. I don't know, something like that, and you can read them through if you want a bit more time with them, or just listen to my sultry voice read it to you again. And we will be back at the same time tomorrow night with your extra chapter, because of that one. You should have had this by Wednesday, but it wouldn't have been as good, so never mind. Anyway, I'm going to go and eat. So I'll see you tomorrow at 10. So you need to vote quite quickly. So I'll probably write early evening tomorrow. So you need to get your votes in by, let's say, 6 p.m. British Standard Time. And I will see you fine folks tomorrow. I love you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.